You, Miss Godwin, have the chance to prove me wrong.
Don't you recognize Victor Frankenstein?
I didn't know any. I only knew the Lake Geneva story. They were in Geneva on the lake, and it was rainy. And he said whoever has the best ghost story wins. In that game. And then Mary Shelley just wrote Frankenstein. And that is so. It's true, but it's not the most interesting thing about Mary Shelley and this woman's life.
Who is that? That's Shelley. Beautiful, isn't he?
Yeah, I knew that he was obviously one of the romantic poets. I had read a bit of his poetry, but no, I didn't know very little about him. I didn't know he was such a rabble-rouser. I didn't know he was such a progressive thinker, a very early vegetarian.
But it's fascinating how young they were, and by that time she had already run away from home. She, had lost a child. She's a woman, I very much felt at that time that I was kind of in her place, about to turn 18, like a new chapter was about to start in my life.
Because it's a coming of age story for these kids.
But I think they're still going through the same kind of discovery that young people go through now, as in discovering love, acceptance, sex, passion, art, even though back then in the 19th century it had kind of different consequences.
Do you think Percy was a good guy?
If I was judging him, just like, do I think he was a good guy? And the actions, if it was my sister, I'd say no. But I don't think nothing's as black and white as that. He was a troubled soul, and he was an amazing thinker. And if you look at a lot of his ideals, which hurt a lot of people around him at the time, free love, which kind of hurt Mary, and if you put them against modern morals and values, they're actually very ahead of their time.
Yeah, Byron and Percy were incredibly forward-thinking for their time, and their kind of advocation of, I don't know if I believe in free love, but more their advocation of not having to get married was, I think, was like you said, a really modern idea, and it's not their fault that that had a different implication on women than men. Yeah. It's not their personal fault that 19th century Britain was completely patriarchal. But also, on the other hand, even though it was a period piece, it felt quite modern. Often with period pieces, you feel distance from it in some way, but I never felt that reading it or shooting it. I always felt incredibly connected to the stories. I think that's also just the way Haifaa directs. She's so in tune with organic human emotion that it really felt like we were telling those stories rather than putting some sort of veneer, period veneer on it.